Welcome to another episode of the Resting Stitch Face podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Erin Sheffield.
And Dr. Sarah Harding.
Welcome back. I can't believe we're here at another episode, and we have another fabulous guest. Sarah, can you introduce her?
Yes, this guest is very interesting, and the reason for that is because I had to put on deodorant and shower today because we've got her in person. We haven't ever done this here. It's really exciting. And so it's fun. We're testing out a couple of different things. And now we've got my little bedroom studio as like a welcoming place. So we've got Dr. Leslie Bonar with us today. She is a dentist. Escondido.
Yeah, Escondido.
So just a little, so a little south of here. And she owned a practice. And my friend Sarah has taken over her place in that practice. And Dr. Leslie has been killing it on social media and making new waves in a different way. And so welcome, Dr. Leslie. We're excited to have you.
Oh my gosh, this is just phenomenal being out here in Bonsall with two oral surgeons. I'm honored. And I love dentistry, so I just love to be on a podcast, and I'm thinking of doing a podcast. So it keeps you
Fabulous.
young, you know?
Yeah.
We hope so. We're hoping so.
Yeah, it has been really fun. Erin and I really enjoyed doing it. I think it's been something that's a lot different than what we are used to doing. And it's opened our eyes and opened our minds and been really a fun way to connect with people that we probably wouldn't normally connect with. Right? You agree?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, I want to hear about your experience in the Navy. I hear you're a Navy veteran, and I know Sarah's a Navy veteran as well. So can you tell us a little bit about what your time in the Navy was like?
Oh, yeah, let's see. I was just actually thinking about that the other day because of all that's going on in the world. And I went to, deployed from Camp Pendleton to Desert Storm. And at first it was Desert Shield, where they kind of drew a line in the sand, protecting the oil and everything in Kuwait. And then it became Desert Storm when they started the ground war. I actually got to meet General Schwarzkopf. He was a big leader in the war. But I can remember deploying, and the first time I'd ever flown first class in my life was this experience. And there were two F-18s.
The Navy let you fly first class?
Well, it was funny. No alcohol, no food, just seats. And I remember looking out the right window, and there was these F-18s escorting us into Germany on our way to the Middle East. And I thought, oh my God, this is really war, So I kind of got my heart up in my throat. And then, here we were, all these dentists that didn't even know how to fire a pistol.
Because we're not allowed to.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
right.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we're
Really?
non-combatant. So we can't carry a sidearm unless there's like certain designations where you can. Yeah.
Wow, I had no idea.
Yeah,
Wow,
but it was
okay.
and then we landed and then you're off to setting up a dental clinic. I really had an actual great experience in Desert Storm just because I felt so, proud serving the country, and I took a lot of people out of pain. Our main goal actually in dentistry is triage, which you guys probably know, medical triage, which technically that's your goal in wartime, but we didn't have to do any triage. Just I took out a lot of wisdom teeth, actually. So
Good job. I'm sure you did.
not as
Were
good
you
as
on
you
a
guys
ship
could.
then?
I
Were
was
you on a
just
ship
actually,
or?
I wish we actually were just deployed in kind of a camp called Jubail, and there were Pakistanis there, Kuwaitis, people from Saudi Arabia, and then there was a big contingent of just support like us, medical, dental, and even physical therapy there. So it was just kind of a medical camp. So
Interesting.
yeah.
And so how long were you there?
Yeah, we were only there 4 months, I think.
Okay.
I was supposed to get married on St. Patty's Day, and we were still there. So my husband and I had a patriotic wedding when I came home. 4th of July. So.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
And did you say something about the oral surgeon that was supposed to be there with you?
Yeah. It was so funny.
I wonder who it is.
He was in civilian world, and they snatched him out of his practice, and he didn't want to be there.
Because he was a reservist. Okay.
Exactly.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
So he didn't want to be there. And so somehow we found out the next day he was gone. And then they said, Lieutenant Commander Mar, you are going to be our exodontist. I would
Oh,
have loved to have
wow.
had you guys there because but I mean, it wasn't like I did
Yeah.
no
Wow.
harm, but
Yeah. You
it
make it
was
work, right?
yeah, we made it work, and
Mhm.
people were really glad because a lot of wisdom teeth were flaring up over there,
Mhm.
and because they didn't listen to their dentist to get them out before they deployed. Um, but yeah, I learned a lot, and they gave me all the equipment, the Hall's drills, and everything, and had it all hooked up. But yeah,
Wow.
it
And so you had just finished how far out of dental school were you at that point?
see, that's a good question. Yeah, I was in Hawaii first, then Camp Pendleton, and then so probably 8, 9 years in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so a little bit of experience.
Okay, good. Yeah, I was thinking that you were moving straight from GPR or something. I'm like, "Oh god, like, that's
Wow.
really stressful."
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because I think when I went on a ship, I did dental school under the HPSP scholarship, and then I did residency straight from dental school. So after my first year of dental school, I did my boot camp, the OCS or the ODS, right?
Right.
That's what they
Fork and
call it,
knife school.
fork and knife school, yes. And, I did that after my first year of dental school, and then I went straight to residency, and then right after residency, I was assigned to the Truman, and that Truman was, deploying, and so I hadn't done anything military in 7 years. You know, I didn't even have the right uniforms, I didn't have any of the stuff, and so I just drove out to Virginia and checked into the ship and got on the ship, and then we went underway a couple days later and
Wow.
then, like, did a couple of underways, and so I was really fresh out of residency, and so was the general surgeon too, but I guess that's good because you're still in that mode of doing big
Make it
cases
happen.
Yeah.
and all of that stuff, and so I was like, you know, "Okay, I guess we'll do this," but then you get bored, right? You think that you're going to deploy, and so you're gonna have a whole bunch of things, but in my case, I had one mandible fracture that I, like, rushed to the OR so that they couldn't tell me no, you know?
And a lot of the injuries were alcohol induced, I hear.
Mhm,
Like
yeah, they got
or
into a fight.
or
Mhm.
a fight, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow. So did you ever get lost on the ship at all?
Oh, for
It's
sure.
huge.
It's huge. So there's 5,000 people when it's fully staffed, and the way that you get around is there's these little signs on the walls that mark each compartment, and so you have to learn the language of the compartments to figure out where on the ship you are, and it's like a little rat maze, like a mouse maze or something, and so there's all different ways to get different places, and there's lots of ways to get lost.
Wow. Ladders.
Yes. Yes, knee
Well, so
knockers.
what are some of the most surprising things about living on a ship?
Well, you go back to having a bathroom down the hall, or a head, as they call it, and you live in a room that's very gray, and there's these blue curtains that cover up your bed because 'cause you're on bunk beds, you know? And some are 2 high, some are 3 high, and the little blue curtains, one day I looked at the back side of it, and on the back it said, "Prison Industries," and I thought to myself, "I'm in prison. I'm in prison. I am. I can't leave. Oh my gosh," you know? And so that was interesting. They'll just cut off the hot water. So you try not to take a long shower, and the showers are like this big. And so it's teeny. You're just like a little, you know, toothpick inside of the thing, and trying to shave your legs is really hard. Meals are all in the wardrooms. And so you just sit with different people when you eat. The hardest part for me on the ship, the very first underway was the catapults. So the ones that launched the aircraft off the ship, it was right above my head, like right above my stateroom. And so I didn't sleep for like 4 days the first underway that we went on. I had brought melatonin and Benadryl and
Love
noise, and in fact, the headphones, noise canceling headphones,
exactly.
so that I could try and sleep. And it was like the second night, and I was so tired. I was just like took some melatonin, took some Benadryl, and then we had a mishap on the flight deck. And there was, like, man overboard. They called a man overboard. And so when they do that, everybody has to get up and go down to wherever you muster, wherever you check in, so your department or whatever. And then they have this whole thing where they're looking for the went overboard, and I can't remember. I don't think anybody actually went overboard, but they were concerned that they did because we had, I think, a helicopter. I think I don't know what happened, but somebody ejected, I think, but then like came down and landed on the flight deck, but a rotor of a helicopter was already spinning up, And I think that they got the parachute caught in there was something, right? And so they were just trying to figure all that out. But then I had to go and sew up like foreheads because people always, when you're trying to get somewhere fast, you go through the hangar bay, which is where all of the aircraft are stored. And the the wings are at like right here level
Oh
on
no.
everybody. And so there was always people whacking their heads and getting lacerations on their forehead. So I had to like go up a couple of people and I was like in La La Land, because I'd taken Benadryl and
Oh
I was just
no.
trying to sleep, and I'm like, oh my gosh. I mean, it was fine, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, that was crazy.
So you actually had to sew up skin, and then what's easier to sew, a tongue or a forehead?
Anything inside the mouth is easier.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, because it heals. I mean, it bleeds a lot more for
I mean,
sure,
the
but depending on where
access
you
is
are.
easier on the forehead, but the pressure is
Yeah, the
worse.
pressure is so hard. Yeah, and I think I actually redid. I think that night I redid somebody else's because they'd done it, and I was like, "Ooh, we got to redo this. Sorry, that's not
That's the
gonna
dentist
fly."
perfectionist coming
Oh
out
God,
for sure.
yes,
That's a good thing.
yes. And so
So, yeah, that's
that was
crazy.
interesting. That was my first underway, and
So do they keep like the men on one side and the women on the other side, or?
kinda yes and no. Where I lived initially, I've got a picture of it, and there's a sign on the door that says female officer country. But my first room was in the middle of males because there were more females on this underway than there had been previously, or on this deployment on the ship than there had been previously. And so we were just kind of intermingled in, but your roommate is same gender.
Mhm. Mhm.
I remember moving in and I went to the store and because I didn't get an apartment, right? Because I just came from Dallas and I knew that we were going to be deployed. There's no reason to get an apartment that I'm never going to live in. And so I remember getting there and I went to the store and I bought white vinegar and a whole bunch of cloths and I just scrubbed that stateroom. It was so disgusting. I think 'cause it was a man's stateroom, but I think they just get gross. I mean, you're living in a machine, you know?
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
So,
Wow.
yeah.
So what's the best part of being in the Navy? Is there a best part?
Oh. Yeah, I think the training you get speed. Like as a dentist coming out of dental school, you're slow. Yeah, and probably being around all different kinds of people. Yeah, I'm learning being able to go in a tank or get a ride in a jet or, being able to do any of that, jump out of helicopters, I think. I think we could. I never did that though. Did
I did that. I never thought that it would be a good idea to fly out of a
No.
perfectly good airplane. I'd never do it on purpose, I guess. No, I think she's right. I think that the ability to practice without worrying about paying overhead, because for the most part, we don't have debt, right? Because the military, you're an indentured servant at that point. But the ability to do the right thing and not be worried about how the patient's going to pay for it. Now that's underscoring a lot of the places where I was stationed. You don't have all the supplies, right? I don't have this fully stocked thing, and your patients are coming and going. And so you may not be able to, somebody comes in with a toothache where you normally do a root canal and all this kind of stuff, but they have to leave tomorrow on deployment. And so that's not an option. And so sometimes you're working within different constraints that you wouldn't normally be. But I think that's good because it teaches you lots of different ways to take care of problems.
Yeah, you really become a MacGyver, don't you? Yeah.
Yeah.
I can remember being in the field and we set up everything, compressors and everything at Camp Pendleton, and I didn't have a little matrix to do a composite. So I said, "Hey, Lance Corporal, give me your cigarettes." And he's like, "Ma'am?" And I said, "Give me your cigarettes." And I took the little cellophane off and cut a little strip and stuff like that you think of, or
Yeah.
yeah, doing, I think it was only '06 and above got crowns. So I had to do these big amalgams.
Oh, I love the
Yeah,
amalgam crowns.
the amalgam crowns.
Yes.
Just molding out of and shine them and
They're so
yeah.
beautiful. I love them. I
That's a
think
Navy
too,
thing, huh?
yeah.
Yeah.
The first thing I thought of when you said, "What's the best part about being in the Navy?" and my first thought was getting out of the Navy, but but that's not true. I really do miss the camaraderie because we have, these clinics where you have a whole bunch of different providers and like a bunch of different dentists. You've got your hygienist right there down the hall, and then the next PUA over, you've got the prosthodontist and a periodontist, and it's just really nice to have everybody kind of in the same spot, and it's not this crazy like corporate dentistry type of place where it's like hustle bustle. So you have opportunities to have conversations and really discuss patient care and learn from each other in a very non-competitive or non-antagonistic, I don't know if that's the right word, way. That's what I really enjoyed, and that's what I really miss.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. If you would say camaraderie, that seems like definitely a part of it. So
Mhm.
can you tell me, as a total layperson that knows nothing about being in the military, can you tell me your rank, and can you talk about the ranks and
Yeah.
what they mean? That's
Let's
all very
see.
confusing to me.
Me too.
Yeah, it kind of is. Yeah, like when you come in like dental school, you start out, you're just coming in as a lieutenant, 03.
So in dental school, you're an ensign, right?
Yeah.
And so, because you're on inactive reserves. And so I was an ensign. Yeah.
Yeah, see, I didn't get the scholarship. I was one of those, they kind of had it, they needed dentists, so they do the scholarship. And then I kind of was down where they didn't need, but they did defer my loans interest free for like 10 years. So that was good.
Oh,
That's really nice.
Yeah. But I came in, as a lieutenant, 03, and then the two little stripes. And then that's a certain level of sometimes physicians, dentists, lawyers, you come in like that. And then you go through a few years, and if you excel at something or you get a good fitness report,
Or you play the game better than I did.
yes, then you can make 04. And yeah, it's funny. It's all about your fit rep, they call it. It's a fitness report. So you're
Like your annual evaluation.
Yeah.
And you write it yourself. It's very confusing.
It is.
so that's not about how many push-ups you can do?
Well, that's part of
That's
it, but
part of it.
that's like
Oh,
a
that
check
is
mark.
part of it.
Yeah, it's like a
Okay.
check mark on
Yeah.
it. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the part that I was good at. It was the writing nice things about myself that I was not good at.
It was about how well you can sell yourself, huh?
Yeah,
Yes.
Wow, interesting.
yeah. And so it's weird because as dentists, we come in as an 03, so a lieutenant. So you skip over 02, which is Lieutenant JG. And so you show up and you've got 2 bars here. And so people think you know about being in the Navy because most people that aren't in the medical world, they show up and they work all the way up and like years and years. Even if you go to ROTC and then go to or like academies, they still come in as an ensign and then they make Lieutenant JG and then they make lieutenant. And so people think that you
Wow.
know anything about what the Navy is and you don't. And so you're like, do, 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 and asking questions. And they're like, I don't understand. How do you not know this? Like, you're a lieutenant. And I'm like, I don't know anything.
Okay. Because I was
You
going
know?
to ask another question was like, how much of the sailor identity have you taken on? So
I love that
maybe not.
question.
Yeah.
Not for Sarah.
I liked it because I was able to go straight to the ships. My very first duty station was deployed, right? And so I got the taste of the real, legit Navy
Yeah.
before getting muddled around in the clinics and hospitals because I think that it's a very, very, very different vibe. And so where the people that are in clinics and hospitals, I always felt that they were just trying to make themselves look good so they could promote. Whereas when you're deployed, obviously your purpose is to take care of the people and at whatever cost, and so
Yeah.
like I like that. That's my jam. I don't worry too much about promotion and making people think that I'm really great.
So
Yeah,
you
that's
didn't
a
hit
great
general by the time you left?
No. No.
How many years did you have?
I did 12.
Wow, you did.
Yeah. How many did you do?
13, 14.
So did your rank change from when you started to when you ended?
Just
What's
barely.
your final
Yeah, just
rank?
barely. Same. Yeah. I got out as an 04, so lieutenant
Yes.
commander.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, same.
As a commander, is that what you said?
Lieutenant commander.
Lieutenant commander.
So 04, and then 05 would be commander, and then captain is 06 and on up.
Okay.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
spot?
He was a commander when he got out. He'd
Okay.
selected for captain, but he didn't want to stay in for 3 more years. So
Okay.
Oh,
yeah, so he didn't put it on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Very
Yeah.
cool.
what a great, really, what a great learning and people and the camaraderie. And I think
Yeah.
it's too bad everybody can't experience actually.
I do too. Yeah. I was always thinking that, especially on deployment. When else would I be able to go in a big old airplane and take a cat shot off the flight deck and fly off an airplane? And then I got to go on a helicopter ride and
Yeah.
stuff. I never got to go into the jet, even though I ended up marrying a jet pilot.
So he was
You never did?
No, I did all the training. I even just was looking at pictures of it the other
Gosh.
day. I did all the training to do it. And everything. But
See,
then
she
they shut down the good deal rides.
she passed the train. I flunked it twice, almost twice. She did the what, upside down in the
Oh yeah, the dunker, the
dunker
dipsy dunker, whatever they
Oh
and the
my
call it.
gosh, I think
gunproofing
I
with the
would puke for
helmet.
sure.
Yeah.
That's
Man.
I gotta
And
get
then the G thing where you go into that container and they put you in like the mask and stuff.
with all the
So you
G
just sign
suit
up
with
to
Mhm.
do that training for fun, or
Well, I signed up to do it so that I could go into the jet. That was the whole purpose. I even had to like, bribe my way into getting a seat in that class because
I was
why
gonna
is this
say
oral surgeon trying to take these classes?
that's what I was gonna say, is they just let you take the class because you want to try it, or is there some reason that the oral surgeon going on the jet would be helpful?
Well, they're clearly not helpful enough. I baked a lot of cookies and brownies trying
Yeah.
to get myself into one of those jets, and it didn't work. I was real pissed.
Yeah, I had
So,
to go up to Lemoore Naval Air Station up there,
mm,
and I just hung around for 5 days and just took donuts and all that stuff.
you know,
Okay, well,
yeah.
I really want to ask your guys' perspective, again, lay person watching what's going on right now with our country and the Middle East, particularly with Iran. Today is March 23rd, 2026, and President Trump put in his like ultimatum, open the strait up within 48 hours or, and I guess he's maybe delayed that a little bit, but I keep hearing
Mhm.
rumors of war and maybe World War III and maybe nuclear threats and boots on the ground and draft and all of that stuff. So I'm hearing all these words, which just feel really big and kind of scary as a layperson. And I'm wondering, from both of you who've been deployed in the Middle East and even you being in wartime in the Middle East, what are your thoughts having experienced all of that when you see this going on at this time in the world? I'm just so curious your perspective.
Wow, yeah, I first felt I feel pride of being able to serve my country, but then when I see the escalation happening so quickly, like I was comparing it to Desert Storm, they had clear ideas what was gonna happen. They had a plan. Yes, they did have some friendly fire things occur, but they had a plan to keep the global oil protected,
Yeah.
where now I got triggered every time I watch the news. I get that deployment feeling, like,
The
please
tightness.
tightness, yeah,
Mhm.
like, so many families are affected when
Mhm.
one person goes, and I got a triggering feeling, sadness, grief, and I don't know, like a confusion, like, what's the plan? And it's too bad that, people are, already dying from the US. I just feel like almost like, "Oh, no, here it comes again," but it's gonna be worse, not better.
Yeah.
I think this is very different. I think that the age just with all the technology and stuff that's come about in the last, 30 years, right, is just it's such a different time. It's such a different type of warfare. It's just there's more things. It's not just boots on the ground, front lines, people walking towards each other, that sort of thing. And I think too, when I was attached to the ship, like I said, I got there in July and we didn't deploy until November. And I knew that I was going to deploy in November. And so we did a couple of underways, which means just going out to sea and practicing and making sure all of our systems were up to snuff and working and that we do all of our training and all the general quarters and all of the things that we have to do to get our check mark that we're okay to deploy. And so I knew, and it still didn't make it any easier to deploy, but you really at least knew that that was coming. And so I think this has been really interesting because you just every time I don't really watch the news very much. And so I think you probably know more about what's going on. But every time I open my browser or something, I see like the USS such and such is, pulled from the pier and is headed to the Middle East. And it's a lot. You know what I mean? And I think when we were at the retreat, one of the gals that was there was saying, "Oh, my daughter is on this vessel and she's deploying in the next few days." And I didn't really think about it. And then once I got to the airport and I saw like all of the stuff is
She's
escalating
on
and I'm
a
like, "Oh
nuclear
my gosh."
sub and she
Mhm.
can't even tell her mom where she's going, which to me is
Yeah.
just so wild.
Upset,
Yeah.
It
girl.
is.
That's what it's all about.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize how quickly things were escalating at that point. And so I always say this too. I always felt safer on the ship than I felt at home. I don't know
Mm.
if that makes sense because I was on a carrier, right? And so it's the biggest ship and you have a whole group of ships with you, right? And their primary purpose is to detect and deter, right? Because they're protecting the queen, right? Which is the carrier. And so if you think about it that way.
Mm.
And so I always felt really pretty safe on that. And then, when we were coming back, I remember there was some shooting, like some snipers in Dallas that killed a couple of police officers. And I remember being like, I don't want to go back. Like
Mm.
I feel much safer on the ship knowing that I've got all of this weaponry around me that, is protecting me than just walking along the street in Dallas. It could be,
Totally
Yeah.
unprotected. Yeah.
right. And so oftentimes we'll tell moms whose kids are considering joining the military, especially the Navy, because I think that that's important to know.
Yeah, then when I was in Saudi Arabia, we were in the rear with the gear. It was when women weren't really up in the front lines, and it was kind of all of the recon guys were in front of us, and we were there. People brought back to us, but definitely Scud missiles going off near our camp, and it's pretty interesting that you can look at that. And they say people that get PTSD, they don't come back to a profession like, you get all this trauma and you see people injured and people in pain. We knew we were coming back to our dental clinic to serve and do dentistry. But I can see where, if this was your purpose and your main job of defending the country, and then you go back, like you said, to a place that's unsafe and
Everything
There's
seems
no
like,
rules.
yeah,
Mhm.
everything seems like a threat,
A
I guess.
threat. Yeah.
Yeah. Really interesting. So I am curious to see like how this all goes with, like you said, not having the same sort of rules of engagement and plan, stepwise plan. I'm just not really sure.
How do the different branches of the military work? I mean, maybe Sarah, you didn't see too much of that because you weren't like in official. Well, were you considered in the war? Was it the Afghanistan war? Well, I guess
Yeah.
I don't know what you were
Operation
deployed for,
Enduring
but
Freedom, I think, or
yeah.
Operation Inherent Resolve. Yeah.
But in something like this, are the different branches pretty friendly? I know there's some rivalries there. How does that work? And then why did you guys choose the Navy versus any of the other branches?
That's a great question. Yeah, I was recruited out of dental school. Ray Gonzalez, my Navy recruiter, came
So funny.
and he gave me the best offer. He said, I'm going to get you Pearl Harbor as your first duty station. And
They promise the world. They cannot
promise.
deliver, usually.
How about you? Did you have any?
No, so we were talking about this last week. I was with the military at Virginia Tech. I was somehow put in a dorm right there. And so that's how I got interested in it. And then I called up the recruiter who had never recruited any dental anybody or medical anybody. And so we learned how
wow.
to do it together. And so that's how I did. So I was still in college and I applied. And then I had a conditional acceptance. So once I got accepted to dental school, then I was able to commission into the inactive reserves. And so I chose the Navy because my dad and my uncle were in the Navy. I liked the places where you could be stationed. I didn't want to be stationed and not around water, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's
So-
great. Oh, so your dad too.
Yeah. And so I think the different branches, because they all have there's some overlap, but there's some very distinct jobs. And so I think that for the most part, they generally work well together. And I think Spot, my husband, when he was flying, he would have other branches on the ground scouting, you know what I mean? And so he would rely on intel from people on the ground
Like the
to,
Marines.
Marines and Army to give them information, and so, and then the Air Force can usually, they're positioned around the world, but because they're stationed on land, they can't necessarily get there as quick. And so that's why we've got aircraft in the Navy, is so that because we've got a mobile air base, you know what I mean? We can just float around to wherever we need to go.
That makes sense.
It used to be kind of a joke in that we were at Pearl Harbor. The Air Force had the best housing,
Everything.
air conditioned tents.
Yes.
Army, not so much. Navy, a little bit up. And then Marines pretty much walk to war.
But
Yeah.
who has the best uniforms? Isn't that the Navy?
And the Navy, maybe? Probably our dress uniform.
Yeah, probably the whites, I think, always look pretty stellar. I think the Marines always just look
Sharp.
so sharp.
crisp.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I bet you look great in whites, though. Did you?
Oh, I think the skirt. The
Yeah.
pants, no. These pants that they give us are they are designed to make you look like I don't even have a butt, and it made my butt look like the size of Australia. That's
Wow.
crazy. Yeah, and then yes. No, thank you.
Yeah.
So, but the men always look great in their uniforms,
Yeah.
you know.
For covers.
Yeah.
I had such a big head, I had to special order my covers. Never mind.
That's funny. I've got a small head,
Oh,
so.
do you? So
Mhm.
you had to special order
Mhm.
small.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like some people look really cool in the uniform, but I feel like I'd look like a total dork. Just a total
Oh, I
dork.
think you'd
That
look
would be
great in
me.
whites.
Well, thanks.
I think it's interesting because I hated putting the uniform on. Like, I hated it.
Yeah.
You know, I loved that at some places where I worked, we would get to show up and then change into scrubs when we got there. We didn't have to like wear a uniform in, but then some places I worked, we had to wear a uniform in,
Oh, gee.
you know. And even on the ship, I had to wear coveralls. So like they were full zip up. It's like a flight suit, but not cool. Yeah, it's like pajamas, but you have to wear a belt. And so you have to undo the belt, and then to pee, you have to really derobe the whole
Naked.
way
Yeah.
down. And the dental clinic, we had one toilet for the clinic, and so you had to figure out this way to roll it under, so that it didn't touch the ground because you know that
Yeah.
like water sloshes around all the time. I even had a special thing made for the toilet so that we could have a little handle on a little piece of metal that we had to slide in and out because the water would just like slosh out.
Oh my gosh.
It's so gross.
I'm imagining a very small toilet trying to like shimmy in there and not get your
Totally.
clothes all. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, like my bedroom is probably the size of the whole dental clinic.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's why when I
Wow.
met Tracy, who we're friends with, she was and she was on a ship. And knowing you, just think of the stuff that you put up with. In civilian world, when I came back, I was like, you just don't think of the things you give up and the space, and it's pretty amazing. So you'll be able
Mhm.
to handle anything after that.
Yeah.
Any challenge.
And you have no control over it either,
Yeah.
right? Like that's the thing. I remember too having the main air conditioning unit was in the dental clinic. I loved it because we bartered, right? So you barter for everything. But I had to figure out how I can get one of these big marshmallow puffy jackets from I think the Nuke folks use them or somebody does, so that I would not just freeze my buns off every day, and then one day it broke. And so I have a picture of myself just like have my coveralls down at half staff and have my legs rolled up, and I always wore cowboy boots in the clinic, and sweat was just dripping because it was so hot, and you don't have any control over it, It's
Oh,
crazy.
yeah.
It's
Bartering.
crazy. Yeah. Yeah, and
Wow.
the food, don't get me started on the food. Woo. Like when you pull into the pier, they load you up with like fruits and vegetables, and that lasts for what, a week, and then it's
Oh,
back to brown lettuce and grill mark chicken and
oh, Ritz crackers. I don't know.
yeah.
I mean,
Those.
Oh my gosh.
does the Navy have their own like MRE equivalent?
No,
At least you're getting something a little more fresh than that. Maybe.
maybe.
I have an MRE at home in my pantry. I used to show my kids all the time when they did want to eat dinner.
Oh, that's awesome.
The MR.
That's some good
Meals rejected by Ethiopians.
Oh no. I mean, it's not
I
real
like that.
food, I guess. I mean, it's
Crackers.
food stuff or something. I mean, my dad was kind of like the camping survival guy, so I've had more than my fair share of MREs.
Oh, have you?
So
Mm,
Pork
it's like
patty.
it's like I was in the military,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah.
That same experience. Wow.
yeah.
That's so interesting. So how has your military experience transferred into civilian sector? Are there things that you have
Oh.
carried with you into your practice or into your
Mm,
personal
Probably-
life?
Probably no man left behind. I really like that. Like in our office, we took care of each other. Probably resilience, kind of, and teamwork, communication. Let's see, leadership. Yeah, the Navy's good at leadership, like actually having an opinion and sticking with it. I suffered greatly with that, but it was.
I'm like, I had a different experience.
Oh, leadership.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I think that's interesting. I think one of my mottos, I have a lot of very sad sounding mottos, but one of them is, well, everybody's good at something, you know? And it's true because when you're in the military, you don't get to choose who your surge techs are or your dental techs. You don't get to choose. They just show up.
Yeah.
And they may be good, they may not be good, and so you train them and you work with them and you learn about them and find their strengths and find their weaknesses and figure out where exactly that they can serve their best. Because I had one corpsman that I just loved him. He was just awesome. But I just felt like he was floundering because he didn't have purpose, right? He didn't feel like he was in charge of anything. And so he was just kind of float around, cause trouble and stuff. And so I finally was like, okay, well, let's get you anesthesia certified because some of our techs can give the medication. So we have to say like, hey, can you give 3 Versed? And they can push and they can start IVs and do all this stuff. But I was like, well, let's do that. And doing that, I think really gave him responsibility and purpose in a way that he wasn't able to get otherwise. And from there, springboarded off and is now just like high speed, awesome, amazing corpsman. He's in Italy right
Oh,
now
wow.
and just doing great things, you know? And so that's what I learned is because you don't get a choice. So if you don't find what they're good at, then you're just making your own life harder,
Yeah.
right? For the time that they're there, that you're there together. And so I think that that was something that really was helpful for me.
I love that. Yeah, looking for their gifts. And yeah,
Mhm.
because sometimes some of them came from jail. No, I'm kidding. But, from their choice was you're going to
Yeah.
go here. And then they show up and then everybody has something they're good at. I love that.
Well, it seems like choosing to make the best of things. There's
Mhm.
a mindset there that you could choose to be miserable. Like I'm stuck on this tin can with no air conditioning and these people I don't like working with. Or I love how you were watering the flowers and ignoring the weeds a little bit.
Perfect.
Yeah. So when you finished the Navy, did you move back here? Because you were already here, I guess. So you finished at Camp Pendleton.
Right, Camp Pendleton, but then Desert Storm. Let's see, and then I went to Japan actually.
Oh, that's right.
For 3 years. That's okay. And then I had
My
my
daughter
daughter
there,
there,
and
and
then
then
my
my
husband
husband
taught.
taught DoD school, which was perfect because he was an elementary teacher, and it worked out. And then we taught English at night and made funny money. We made a lot of yen and paid for our first house. Then I came back. I ruptured the disc in my neck, and my arm didn't work. It was like this. So the Navy tried to rehab me in physical therapy, but it was a bulging disc. So
I didn't know that.
yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So then they actually medically boarded me out from full discharge, medical board. And I went to Balboa Naval Hospital for my last tour. So, and then I found a dentist to work with down in Claremont. And he was great because he kind of got me thinking about what it's like to be in civilian division, and how to talk to patients.
Yes, it's very different.
So
I was
different.
gonna say,
Yes.
I bet it was a bit of a culture shock. What was kind of the biggest thing, the challenge?
The whole cost, thing.
Mhm.
I thought dentistry is exorbitant. And that was always my biggest thing that I loved about the Navy, like you said. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
free. It's free. You can do whatever you deem is best for the patient.
Mhm.
So that was a big realization for me. And then when I opened my own practice, wow, overhead. But it was really a great experience going from the Navy to that, because then you do have to, be a leader, and you have to be resilient, and you have to think of exactly what's best for the patient still, and kind of keep your opinion on that, and not wobble too much, and
Mhm.
and then have your team, and keep everybody like a little culture within a community, within your culture.
I think that you're really funny. And so I'm assuming that some of that has always been how you are. But I think that, like in the Navy, you have that sort of cynical humor, right? I mean, in medicine and oral surgery, like I think that that's just part of the
Kind
things.
of irreverent humor.
Yes. And so did you carry that into private practice?
I see. That's a great, yeah. I think we just always, because I was that way, I always wanted to make it fun, like exceed the patient's expectations, or like, hey, let's do a little fluoride shot in a light up glass or something. Like do something,
That's awesome.
something, or do something that's like turn the nitrous up. No, they're not throwing up. No, I'm kidding. But you need a little levity for sure, and irreverent humor.
And did you find that it was well received? Like,
Yes,
yeah.
yeah, I think so. You know when to cut it, but yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
But no, I think, Mrs. Smith and Mrs. Kravitz and all of them, they really liked it, and I liked the, having 3 generations of patients. I think family dentistry for me was really good. I wasn't a cosmetic only practice, but,
Mhm.
like, 2-year-olds and World War II veterans and
Mhm.
kind of all in between. I think they like a little levity and humor, and yeah, that's a good question. I never thought about that.
How long did you own the practice? And did you
Yeah.
set it up from the get-go?
I know, crazy in the middle of all these dentists. There are, like, 600 dentists in North County, and they gave me a
Wow.
loan. That was back when you had leased money. I couldn't get a business loan because I had no success in that already, so you had to lease
Oh.
the money at, like, 12%, and we paid that off real quick and, yeah, just kept going, and Yeah, I was kind of in the middle of across from a main hospital. So we got a lot of nurses, doctors, custodians and admin, really nice people. But yeah, I started from scratch and then we just kind of grew to, I think we were the best practice in Escondido. People just love to refer their friends and family. And I always said, make your patients raving fans and hopefully they'll want to just refer everybody and like really feel seen and heard.
Yeah,
But
that's
yeah, it was
great.
a lot of fun. I miss it dearly.
And so how long did you own it?
I think it was, let's see, just about 21 years from the, yes. And then went into the honeymoon phase of retirement. So now I'm ready to, I just got missing dentistry. Yeah, so much.
Yeah,
It's really changing too. So.
it's really changing.
Mhm.
Yes. So then when you decided to sell, how did that go
Oh, yeah.
about?
I knew a year or two ahead, and then Dr. Basso was my partner. He's the best partner. Couldn't have asked for better. And so he's still there. We worked together about 17 years. So all the patients knew him. So there wasn't any break in the continuity of care. And then Sarah, Dr. Golshan, came in, and now they have Christian, Dr. Glacken. So there's two of them and Dr. Basso, and yeah, they're 5-star Yelp reviews.
Mhm. And so did he just end up buying out your half of the
The
practice?
first half,
Okay.
yep, and then now he's in the process of the second half, so
Okay.
that kinda worked.
Okay, that's cool. And so, nowadays, a lot of these practices that have built up and become these bigger practices are selling to corporate or selling to
right.
private equity. Was that ever even on your radar?
Definitely our consultant approached us, and he said, "But I would have had to stay in the practice 7 years longer."
Wow.
So
Okay.
I was just ready, yeah.
I'm like, I heard 5, but
Back to
7. I'm like,
indentured servitude.
There you go.
yes.
And
Yeah.
we're kinda glad we didn't, because the patients, I think, would have not had the best care. I mean, they
Mhm.
could have, but
Yeah.
yeah,
I've heard horror stories about it.
yeah,
So
but we declined it.
good. I think
Yeah.
that was the right decision. I just think it's scary because it's very hard to turn down, right? It's
is.
very hard to turn down that
Nugget
money,
Mhm.
right? And then you built this whole thing. And so then you're like, well, this was supposed to be my retirement,
Yeah.
plan. And then sometimes you can't really sell, or sometimes, you know what I mean? It's like I know oral surgeons that have just closed the doors because they couldn't sell.
Wow.
And then what, right? Like I understand why people do it, but I don't like the way that it's going.
Yeah, no, I understand the reasoning behind it, and then
Mhm.
they want you to stay in the practice, which makes sense because you are
'Cause
still touching patients, talking.
yeah, because you're the reason why the patients are
You're
there.
there, and your brand is
Yep.
still there. And then they kind of made it feel like it was you're going to get millions and millions, and I was like, it doesn't seem possible.
Right.
I was happy just having Dr. Basso take over, and the other and Sarah and Dr. Glacken, and just their patients are really happy and it's thriving. That makes my soul feel good about all of that.
Mhm. Yeah. And so Dr. Sarah says that you have come into the office on occasion because you're recording
Oh yeah.
some things. So what are you doing?
Well, that's why I'm so glad to be here with you two. And I've been wanting to do a podcast, and I was gonna do actually because I'm older, I don't have as much time, so I was gonna make it short and sweet and sugar free. My measuring tape to 100 is very small. No, I'm kidding. But I wanted to interview different dentists all around the country so I can fly to them and then I have a reason to travel
Mhm.
and
I
meet.
love
Do you need an
that.
assistant?
Yes, and I'm
I fly for free.
oh, that's right.
Yeah, just on standby, so you may have to wait for me a little bit.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, we can collaborate and
That's
then
right.
go to Illinois first.
Yeah.
Yes.
See?
Come on
But
out.
yeah, and then I was thinking of titles, Spit Happens. I love your title so much. It's so or maybe like there's a patient attached to the teeth because I really want to help young dentists learn about soft skills, like how to make your patients just raving fans and really make their experience exceeded by whatever they came in expecting. Like a community within your practice. So like people say, "Oh, you have to go there because they'll make you feel so held and seen and heard and they trust you. They're not pushy, all the things that I've been hearing for the last 40 years."
Yeah.
But social media is interesting. Yeah, you really have to kind of now it's like you have to have a hook and you have to be
On.
fast and on.
Right.
And
Yes. And so
so,
you have Dr. Leslie Live, right? That's your Instagram and
yeah.
TikTok, is that right?
Yep, and TikTok.
TikTok. I don't even do TikTok, but
Oh
she
my
does.
gosh.
Yeah.
Yes,
You can get
TikTok
followers on
queen.
TikTok quicker than anything.
I'm going to get you. I'm gonna follow you for sure. I'm on TikTok and I'm on Instagram. What's the difference to you? Do you feel like the audiences are different? Do you have different strategies?
It's interesting. Yeah, you really need an Instagram value, right? Something, and it's got to be 3 seconds that they
Yeah.
see the value for themselves, and then they
Mhm.
will listen and follow. But TikTok, I think, just wants to have fun, and the trends are on TikTok, right? Like
Mhm.
everything.
Mhm.
I think it blows up a little quicker, and you can
Mhm.
sell things on TikTok. I was thinking I really need to do some offerings like dental analogies. Or do you use analogies a lot?
All the time.
Yeah.
Is this a San Diego thing? Because I think Lindsay is really good at analogies too. I mean,
Yeah, she
we
was
talk about this all the
dropping 'em
time
in
because
there.
everything is an analogy.
Yes, like like your tooth has 9 lives, and we're on the 9th life, so come out.
It's funny. But it's
Yeah.
so the other thing that I found really interesting was you are pretty entrepreneurial, right?
Mm,
And you have a daughter who has
right.
like created this whole thing. Can you talk a little bit about
Yeah,
Allie and what she's doing?
no, and she's eating it right here. It's so great because it's the only spreadable granola in the world, and it's nut-free,
Yeah.
allergen-free, vegan, kosher. It's everything, dairy-free. It's not flavor-free though, but it's so delicious. And
It is
she
really
just
good.
started in college. She was a nutrition major and decided she was having trouble digesting nuts, and a lot of people do. So yeah, so she went in and mixed up granola and spices and MCT oil and all these things, and it made a spread and went to farmers markets and just kind of started building her following. And then it's Target now, Whole Foods, Costco,
Wow.
Sprouts. So she's a little pit bull. I call her the little.
Apple doesn't fall far from
Yeah,
the tree.
it is amazing though. Like you don't know they're watching you when
Mhm.
they're little, and then maybe she saw the freedom there of having your own company. And but yeah, so now she's having a child, and so she's ready for some balance in her life. So it'll be interesting to see.
What's the product or the company
Yeah, it's
called?
called granola butter, and it's
Is it Oat House?
Granola.
yeah, Oat Dot House is an HAUS house. Yeah, and
Mm.
it really is delicious.
I love it because all of her advertising and marketing is all of these beautiful bright colors, and it's just really fun.
She really likes all that. So, but yeah, it's going to be fun to see where the company goes, and who knows, maybe someone big will buy them, and they can still stay involved in some way, and make it more, out there because
Mhm.
it is expensive. They self-manufacture, and but they've got all
Oh,
these
wow.
flavors like cinnamon roll and vanilla cookie, Oreo, or cookies and
Yeah.
cream, red velvet. So they have to keep launching new flavors. It's really fun. They even did
Mhm.
a Dubai chocolate one that
Oh, cool.
was really good.
Yeah. And she had to even build a whole manufacturing facility because it had
Mhm.
never been made before, and so
Right, a nut-free facility.
Wow.
yeah, and so had to, like, do this whole thing.
But do you have kids too, Erin? Are you
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
3 little kids.
Oh, wow. But no
Mhm.
nut
Yeah.
allergies or anything, hopefully.
No, luckily not. My husband's a pediatric ears, nose, throat doctor. And
Oh.
so when they were babies, he was always having to go and fish peanuts and nuts out of babies' airways. And so we didn't let them eat nuts until they were quite a bit older.
Responsible.
Interesting that they
That's
didn't
so
develop an
funny
allergy.
Yeah.
because I'd give them peanut butter, but I wouldn't give them real peanuts.
Okay.
But we would ask them what they wanted to do when they grow up, and they would say, "Eat nuts."
So whatever you keep from them,
Excited to eat nuts is their purpose in life, and now they don't even like nuts all that much, so it's funny. But yeah, I mean,
Wow,
if
you
you
have
want your
3
kids to do
too.
something, just keep
Keep
it
it
from
away.
them. We're like, "Oh, yeah," most kids say firefighter or something, but
Right,
nuts, eat
astronaut.
nuts, so yeah, that's
They wanna be
funny.
oral surgeons.
Yeah, they're all like, "Ew, no, gross,
I know.
That's the problem with having 2 surgeon parents.
Mhm.
It'll, like, autocast onto the TV or something, and it'll just be like, "There's grandma, and there's oh, when you were a baby, it's so cute," and then it'll be like, "Oh, gross, like mom's
Why do you
surgical
put the bloody
picture.
pictures on there?
Yeah. And I'm like, "You guys wanna see this case I did?" "No."
I remember when Shep was little and I had the same thing, and then he was asking questions about it, and I was like, "Well, that's because I had to take her hip and rebuild her jaw with her hip bone." And so then he started going around and saying, like, "My mom builds jaws out of hip bones," and he was probably 2,
People are
maybe
like,
3.
"What?"
Yeah.
Wow.
I was telling my daughter a couple weeks ago, yeah, I have to go fix this guy's jaw and I have to cut through his neck. And, it always feels like a big thing when I have to do that. And I'm a little nervous. I hope it goes well. And she said, well, at least he's not a giraffe. That would make it a lot
yes.
harder.
What a perspective.
And I
That
was
is like my
you're
favorite
right.
quote. I just love it so much.
You're
Yes.
absolutely right. At least he's not a giraffe. It could always be, harder or more difficult.
What a great way to say it. And then your two boys are they
Wild.
but no nut allergies there.
Oh, no. My older one has whitefish allergy. I don't know. He hasn't had it in a
Yeah.
while, but like a little whitefish allergy, which like
Just gets a little
he gets like hives and
Oh.
hypersalivation. And then he
Mm.
never really had airway issue, but we got Benadryl on board both times that it happened. And so then we're like, well, I guess we don't want to do that anymore. But now he just says, I'm allergic to all fish. And I'm
Oh.
like, no, you're not.
Convenient.
Yeah, because you don't think of kids loving fish as much, do you, as a hamburger?
Right. Well, they do love
It's
hamburgers.
like my
that's for
kids, they
sure.
like food until they don't like it. And it's like, oh, it's so spicy. And I'm like, but you ate that. It was way more spicy. But they know I'm not going to force them to eat something that's too spicy. That would be like child abuse. Like, eat
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
They're so
Wasabi.
smart, those manipulators. They learn.
They are smart parents.
I mean,
too.
I was probably good at it too, right? Do we outgrow it or what? Because all kids are so good at it, but I don't feel like I'm as good as I would like to be at manipulation.
I convinced my parents that I couldn't drive stick shift because the car that they were going to let me drive was this hideous green Geostorm.
I
It
know.
was so gross.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, I refuse to drive this car. And so I was like, I can't
figure
drive
it
stick.
out.
And I was driving up Interstate 95 to get to school. And I was like, it's just too dangerous. And so my mom gave me her car and she took the Geostorm. And then one day they were like out of town. I forget. And there was my car wasn't there. And so I wanted to go to my friend's house. And so I took the Geo and I drove it to my friend's
I know
house
exactly.
across town. And they were like, that sounds interesting. I'm not really sure how you did that.
I'm a quick learner.
And then when I
That's
finally
funny.
like got to buy a car, I ordered it as a manual. And they were like, huh, I thought you didn't like stick shift
That's
and didn't know how to. I was like, I don't know.
Never too late to learn.
Right. So I think we don't outgrow it, as it turns out.
Yeah, and now
Yeah.
that's a lost art form. You can't even buy those cars hardly anymore.
That's right.
I know. I went to Brazil one time and they all stick shift rental.
Mhm.
And I'd kind of forgotten because, you don't expect to rent a car and it's going to be only stick.
I've always worried about going to
That's
countries
surprising.
that drive on the other side
Oh,
and then having to drive stick. I'm like, whoa, does
yeah,
my,
your mental
like the hand-eye coordination would be very interesting, I
and then
think.
roundabouts.
Oh, yeah. Going the
gosh.
wrong way in a roundabout sounds
Yeah.
really scary.
Well, it's
Yeah.
scary.
No, so true.
Okay. I want to end on one last question. So, dental school is so expensive. Med school is so expensive these days. And one way to pay for that is to do like the Navy scholarship or the military. Do you guys, after having been there and done it yourself, is that something that you would recommend to others seeking that route?
I absolutely would. I think it's interesting because some people pay off their loans, some civilians, pay off their loans really quick. And so it's not an issue. But a lot of times it's easier if you're a specialist. But if you're a general dentist, I think that return comes slower. And so paying it off becomes much more of a burden over a longer period of time. I'll say that I hate debt. And I would probably, if I hadn't been in the Navy, I would have just eaten a spoonful of peanut butter a meal so that I would be minimizing my amount of debt that I had. And so I was really glad for it. I mean, because they paid for tuition and then paid for books. And then 30 days a year, you're on active duty, whether you were going to do something or not, you just have 30 days a year of active duty. And so you're paid as active duty during that time. And then when I joined, which was in 2007, yes, they were really hurting for dentists. And so they offered a bonus. And so I was able to invest that money. And I never had investments before. And so I was able to invest that money and that's been great. And then they also offered a recruiting program almost. So I recruited like 5 classmates and I think they paid like $1,500 per person that you recruited or something. And so I was like, cool. And so I just pushed all of that into investments. And so I may not have, made as much money as I would have in the civilian sector, but I was able to make money and invest it early. And so that was good. I think it provided that. And it provided a great opportunity to do lots of cool, fun things and be able to practice without the debt
Totally.
weighing on you. Yeah. What about you?
Mhm.
Yeah, hands down, I would say, because if otherwise you're going into working at a DSO and learning more of the business model, where
Yeah.
military best experience for me. Otherwise, I would have probably worked for another dentist for a long time and as an associate. But I think and you learn fast, you get cross section of humanity or your patients. They're all really healthy, actually. Most part, yeah. But no, I loved it, yeah. And I've told so many people that if they wanted to do that, I think a few of my patients became dentists and they all went to the
Oh,
military.
that's
It's kind
cool.
of cool.
Yeah, really cool.
It's great way to
Yeah.
travel too.
I've thought before, I wish all women could do surgical residency, except I don't wish that on anyone.
Right. What a
But
conundrum.
for the lessons that you learn, like for me, it was so important for my confidence and just my ability to get over anxiety and fear about doing things. Because it's just, you've never done that before, go do it. And you just have to figure it out. And it feels very high stakes because it's people's health on the line or people's life
Mhm.
on the line or, so I think that's really helped me learn to say yes to things that are hard and scary and to
Oh,
expand, like I don't think I'd be on social media creating or doing those things if I hadn't have, okay, just do it. I
right.
could
Do it
figure it out,
messy, do it. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's opened so many doors for me, including just even knowing Sarah. And so
Yeah.
it's been really cool. And I think, gosh, I wish my friends would have that same experience because I'll ask them to come do things or the things that they aren't willing to
Mhm.
do are so surprising to me sometimes. Like, just try this new food. Like, oh, I couldn't. Or, come drive an hour and go to this place with me. Oh, it's too scary. I don't know.
That's so
I just wish that
interesting, yeah.
more women had that confidence to say yes and to lean into their capabilities. And I suspect it's probably a similar feeling when you're in the Navy. Am I right?
It is. Yeah. I mean, even on deployment, I remember, and you did this doing wisdom teeth, right? When the oral
Mhm.
surgeon left. I remember having a couple of peritonsillar abscesses, and I did a couple of tonsillectomies in residency, but literally like maybe 3, and my staff was doing most of it, right? And so I get on the ship and we had a couple of PTAs, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to take out
It's
your
me.
tonsils, but I'm going
Yeah.
to, help get this resolved, and then we'll get you taken care of if it flares up. But it was me
Yeah.
and the general surgeon, and he didn't do anything above like here. He would try, but he was like much happier if I would take it.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
so you just do it, right? And then you're like, I guess I am well trained. I guess I
Yeah.
can do this.
And you go back to the
Right.
basics and yeah. Well, that's
Yeah.
what I haven't been accepted yet. I failed miserably, but I've been applying to TEDx talks. I was telling Sarah, and it's on fear and how to dismantle fear and the amygdala, right, always puts out in a millisecond fear, 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 stop, just fight or flight, freeze,
Mhm.
And that's so interesting. What you just said, Aaron, was that you say yes to things. You just basically just go right to yes. Yes.
Mhm.
You just go. And isn't it interesting how some people don't? They stop. They see it fear as
I think
a
most people
wall.
don't. But the thing, like when you say yes, it's so expansive and there's so many opportunities and things you can learn about
So many
yourself or
possibilities. Yeah.
like I got asked to do this lip sync as a fundraiser and once I said yes, it was like, "Oh my gosh, what did I get myself into? This is
See,
like such a thing." But even if I got up there and like totally blown it, it didn't matter, right? Like
Right.
it was for fun and people would have maybe been embarrassed for me for a minute, but would have
for a
forgotten.
minute.
But
Yeah.
we take ourselves so seriously and we're so worried about failure. And a lot of times it's dumb little things. So I'm always looking for things to say yes to. Like my default tries to be yes, just because I think it's
I love that
been really
default.
important for
Yes.
my growth. So anyway,
You're a yes ninja.
I'm a yes woman. What can I say? It's usually looked as a bad thing, but no, for sure.
No, don't
Well, thank
stop.
you so much
Yeah.
for sharing with us, you guys, your experiences. Thank you so much for your service for our country. I mean, what
Oh.
a sacrifice, and we really appreciate it. So,
Yeah. And
thank
look,
you.
here we are on the other side, right?
Yeah.
And we're going to go walk and look at some avocado trees and
Yeah.
stuff.
Chickens and
Yeah.
some
See?
coffee.
Amazing.
Thank you, Aaron. This was really a pleasure. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay.
All right. We'll see you next time.
Take care. Thanks for listening to another episode of the Resting Stitch Face podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, the best way you can support us is by sharing it with a friend, leaving a quick review, or hitting follow so you don't miss what's next. We'll see you next time.